Good afternoon and welcome back. This afternoon we have two panels and a video for you to start off. We're going to try to play the welcome message from the superintendent one more time. Please stand by.
See the top?
Hello, I'm Eric Green, Superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, and I'm so excited for Tech Jackson 2020. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity for our scholars to share, to learn, and to network all around the issues of and in the area of technology. Our young people will be at the table as many of the brightest minds in technology think through the challenges of the day, as well as some of the solutions. As you all know, COVID-19 has changed the way that we live. It's changed the way that we communicate and do business and several other things. And so I'm excited that our young people will have this opportunity to talk through those challenges, to talk through some of the latest technological advances, to help to polish some of those solutions, and even to start to build some relationships with industry leaders so they too can be a part of what works in our world. Tech Jackson 2020 will be a wonderful opportunity for all of us to grow together and to continue to build on the infrastructure that already exists here in Jackson, Mississippi. We can be at the forefront of this work. And so let's use this opportunity to do great work together. Thank you.
And now a message from Richard's son. I'll ask again on video real quick.
Okay.
All right, so where do you see technology in Jackson or the greater Mississippi area heading in the next 3 years?
Well, in the Jackson area in particular, I think it's at an inflection point. The mayor has done a number of things that really prepare the ground. So I think it's really fertile ground in Jackson and the state to really think seriously about proactively growing tech in the area. One of the things the Coding Academy has demonstrated is we've got a lot of people that, given the right opportunity and the right direction, will learn high-tech subjects and thrive in that environment. So I think what we could see, if we're proactive about things like the Coding Academy, things like the Tech District, things like Lobaki, having a critical mass that comes together and starts growing a meaningful tech center in Jackson. I think what the CodeWorks and Coding Academy can do is show that you can do software development in Jackson on a national scale and begin to have people outsource their coding needs to Jackson so that we can develop a small software center. And it might be several hundred and eventually several thousand coders. And from that, you have all the affiliated types of tech that come out of it. Coding is really an entry point into a larger tech community, whether you're in support, sales, product management, all of the things that are in IT. So that I think we could see some really interesting things growing in Jackson in the next few years if we, as a community, proactively work on it.
Thank you very much. And And this leads into our next panel. Our next panel is on the future of a tech district in Jackson. For those who don't know, Dr. Nashley Cephas is currently in the process of starting a tech district here in Jackson at the intersection of Emmett and Gallatin. It's a futuristic look, which we'll get a look at this evening if you tune in. And it will be comprised of lofts, business centers, maker station, creative centers, and an event hall. So now we'll tune into that panel. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the future of a future tech district in Jackson. So I'm here with Jackson Tougaloo Early College High School and Miss Crystal Chapman to introduce her students. Today we have Ryan Lazard. Ryan Lazard is a sophomore at JPS Tougaloo Early College High School, where he is a member of the Esports Rocket League team and tech team. He intends to attend Mississippi State University, and his career aspirations include becoming an exterior and interior designer of residences. Next, we have Ardarius Stasher. Ardarius Stasher is a sophomore at JPS Tougaloo Early College High School. He was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. He participates on the JTEX eSports team. He hopes to study computer science and computer engineering at Georgia Tech. Next, we have Trayvon Washington. Trayvon Washington is also a sophomore at JPS Tougaloo Early College High School, where he's a member of the Esports Rocket League team, and he serves as Mr. Sophomore. He intends to attend Georgia Tech, and his career aspirations include becoming a software engineer. We have Olivia Johnson. Olivia Johnson is a sophomore, where she is currently a member of the tech team. She intends to attend Howard University, and her career aspirations include becoming a cardiovascular surgeon and hospital CEO. We have Sydney Thompson. Sydney Thompson is also a sophomore at the JPS Tougaloo Early College High School, where she's a member of the media team, the choir, the Student Government Association, the tech team, and she runs track. She intends to attend Tougaloo College, and her career aspirations include building her own luxury resorts and refining the criminal justice system. And finally, we have Carlin Nichols. Carlin Nichols is a junior at the JPS Tougaloo Early College High School, where he's a member of the Esports Rocket League team, the Student Government Association, the Drama Club, and the tech team. He intends to attend Tougaloo College, and his career aspirations include becoming a perfusionist. So please welcome them while we start the panel, and I'll hand it over to Ms. Crystal Chapman. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Crystal Chapman, and I am a teacher of JPS at the JPS Tougaloo Early College High School. I teach biology and technology, and these are some of my students that have really helped transform what we're doing in and outside of the classroom when it comes to tech. And so we want to have a conversation about what Jackson can look like if we really put a lot of effort into these different things technology-wise. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a few questions for Olivia and Sydney first. So Olivia, how should we be growing the tech community here in Jackson?
I believe we should grow the tech community by showing people what we have now, how tech is now, and showing them what it could be. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a phone is, or at least has a phone or a computer. And those are just versions of tech that have advanced over the years. And I believe if a phone can go from being just a landline and weighing up to 50 pounds to being a small device that you can carry in your pocket and call somebody using just your voice, as well as do numerous other tasks, the possibilities for tech are endless.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I appreciate you saying that landline phones were 50 pounds, but all right, I'll take it. All right, so next, Sydney, the same question. How should we be growing the tech community here in Jackson?
I feel like first we need to update the kind of technology that we have, because if the youth can't obtain it, then we can't really grow in the tech field. And we should also like start networking with other organizations and corporations, because I know like the tech field is endless. You can partner up with literally anybody. And for example, my school, we partnered with Heinz, and they helped us with like district winning science fair boards. So the partnerships and the collaborations we can make are key, and it could take us a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Networking is very important. All right, so let's go to our next question. Starting with you, Ardarius. In what ways can anyone, even those without access to formal technology training, become more involved in the tech arena?
Even those without interest in the tech or just want to do so in today's age, when there's a lot of angles to approach from. First, there's YouTube, which you can learn almost anything from. And if I'm being honest, tech is not cheap nowadays, but as a person with great interest in this field, I believe that it's a great investment. Like, for example, if somebody wanted to play a game competitively, like our JTech esports team, of course, not only can they get scholarships, but you develop strategy and skills within your teammates and yourself. Another example is VR tech. Not many people own this type of expensive tech due to the high price point. But recently, the Oculus Quest 2 dropped at a low price point of $300. No wires and no computers. Tech like this makes expensive tech more accessible to the average person. And there's multiple ways to use these type of tech. Thank you.
Cool. So I think that it's great. Ardarius is one of our students that loves AR, VR technology, and he has brought things to school to kind of show everybody how to do different things. And so being able to access a virtual world without needing big computers and more expensive equipment, I think is really, really cool. Accessibility is super important. So Ryan, same question to you. In what ways can anyone, even those without access to formal tech training, become more involved?
I think there are many ways that one could become versed in the world of tech. Informally, you have people who haven't gone to school through things like learning how to code on their own. You could become a video producer, learn how to make games through software such as the Unreal Engine, or even learn how to mix beats through apps and tech like GarageBand. Honestly, there are a whole lot of ways you could do it.
Cool. So what you're saying is we should take a, just kind of get in there and figure it out as we go approach?
Almost, but they have, like Stat said, they have a tutorial. And even off of YouTube, you can, actually, now that I think about it, they have a site called Fiverr where people will pay you to do certain things like mix videos, mix beats, or even just play music, or, well, really a lot of different things, but something along those lines.
Cool. So just sounds like as long as we practice the skill and keep working towards it, we'll be able to find our place. All right, so Sydney, same question for you. In what ways can anyone, even those without access to formal training, be more involved?
I feel like coding is a great way to start, because when I was younger, we had Open Doors, and like one of the first apps we used was coding. It was like this Angry Bird, and we had to decode in order for the Angry Bird to win the game. And the demand for coding is strong as far as jobs go. There are many free websites, videos, and games that can better the kids in coding. And coding brings critical thinking, problem solving, and other key skills that could really help. So I think coding will be very useful.
Hey, critical thinking and problem solving. You're over there dropping those teacher terms that I like. And those skills are what you're able to learn, which is really, really good. All right, so we have our next question, which is starting out with you, Trayvon. What impact would an intentional cultivation of a Jackson Tech Hub have on our economy and our talent pool?
Okay, well, an intentional cultivation of a tech club in Jackson will have many benefits towards our economy and talent pool. Currently, as you know, in Jackson and in Mississippi as a whole, we're pretty much short of tech-related positions such as computer and software engineers. And this is mainly due to our aspiring technologists moving to states where there's more of a focus on technology, such as Georgia and Seattle and Massachusetts, where there are like technology-based schools and stuff. So a cultivation of one tech club here would open up the way for many more to be established, which will attract talented students and allow us to maintain our talent pool.
So what I'm hearing is that if we're able to offer ways for you to learn, even high school, even going into college, it's a reason for you to want to stay. Okay, cool. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so Ryan, same question for you. What impact would this intentional cultivation of a tech hub have on the Jackson and even the Mississippi economy and talent pool?
I think a tech hub in Jackson could not only provide opportunity to those who may not have it, but it could also make it more accessible to those, well, to improve your skills as well. This means that there would be more people who could introduce new tech to Jackson and more people who could improve Jackson and surrounding areas.
So bringing in new tech as well as improving the tech we have. All right, and so same question for you, Carlin. What impact would an intentional cultivation have on our city and our state?
So to bring intentional cultivation, whether that be knowledge and support, into Jackson's tech community would not only bring a positive and hopefully drastic incline in the community's overall change, but also bring out a new genre, a new era of talent and artists that have never been able to be in the spotlight in Jackson before, never been able to be recognized in their field.
I think one thing that we have talked about, like within Tech Club, and we've talked about school-wide, is that there are so many jobs and so many opportunities that don't even exist yet. You know, at one point in time, and I'm going old school on y'all, but at one point in time, no one foresaw a need for a Facebook. But we know the billions that Facebook has made. No one saw the need for a touchscreen phone. Like, I can attest, I was apprehensive when they first appeared. But now these things that we consider essential, we come in contact with every day, 15, 20 years ago didn't exist. So I think what you're mentioning in regards to creating new genres and creating new fields, new possibilities is amazing. All right, so next question. Starting with you, Ryan. If you could request one thing from our city or school leaders in order to enhance the perception of technology and innovation in Mississippi, what would it be?
There are city and school leaders. I would love to see more access to learning, sponsoring, and network opportunities. They could host tech fairs and or have a venue for people to meet and learn from each other. That would be ideal.
Okay, so you would like to see just an opportunity to get out there and see and feel things and experience new tech that you may not know about.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, same question for you, Carlin. If you could request one thing from school leaders or city leaders to improve or increase our innovation, what would it be?
My one and only request is continued support for the ideas that the youth have to bring for this new era of tech in Jackson. It would help with the growth in team-led projects. That's definitely something that we need to see, a growth in team-led projects, a growth in our community's technological knowledge. It's just one big thing. So all I have to ask for is continued support from our city.
I like how you said team-led. I think that as a teacher, and being able to work with y'all have ideas that I could probably never come up with. And I think that the team-led aspect of coming up with new events or coming up with new projects would really transform what we have and transcend what we're able to do. So I really like that team-led part. That's the key. Trayvon, same question for you. If you could request one thing to help us improve our innovation or access to technology, what would that be?
Okay, so I would request for more exposure of technology to children in school so that they would be more aware of the benefits. So, you know, children are our future, and many children become what they see or what they know to be widely accepted. So, with more exposure of tech to children while they're in school, it would allow them to see the benefits of working in a technology related field, which would expand their future options for careers.
Okay, so yes, children, including you, are the future. And so I think that what you're saying about the access is important because a lot of times we don't know what we can become if we've never seen it. And then of course we really don't know if we've never seen someone that looks like us, which is why I think one of the reasons there's such a drive to get young African American guys and girls into technology because we generally don't see ourselves. And so I think that what you're talking about is essential. Being able to give everyone the hands-on experience to say, oh yeah, you can do this too. It's not as hard as you think. I think that that's a great point. All right, Olivia, answer this question as well. If you could request one thing from our city or our school leaders to enhance this perception of technology, what would it be?
Okay, just to emphasize what Trey, Ryan, and Carlin have said, they all talked about having exposure, having team-led activities, but we need the resources to do these things. If we had the resources, then more people could be interested in tech and interested in continuing the support of tech in Jackson. So we need the resources to do these things.
Yes, we do. Okay, excellent. Thank y'all for that. All right, so we're getting down to our last few questions. So this question is going to go for everybody. And so we'll just, I'll call it out and then I'll just call on you one by one. So for everyone, what do you envision when you hear the concept of a tech district in Jackson? Because this is something that is new to us. It's something that we've seen elsewhere. I think Trey mentioned in Georgia, they have a really big technology population. Of course, we know in Seattle, Washington, it's huge over there. On the West Coast, it's huge. So when you hear tech district, we don't always think of Jackson. So if we're building this from the ground up, which we are, what do you envision? What do you want to see in it? And I'm going to start with Ardarius.
I personally envision a place where I can meet people of all ages, race, or gender who have the same interests as me in technology. And I also envision a place full of opportunities. Overall, I envision smart young minds coming together to make a future for themselves and the city.
So you're looking for like a space where everybody can just come and just drop the ideas and make some really good stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So what do you envision, Trayvon?
Okay, so I envision more diversity. Many kids in Jackson often feel as if their only way out is through music or sports, but a tech district will provide an extra route of interest.
Now that is something very, very profound. Music and sports is generally how a lot of people, a lot of students that I've come across see themselves. And I think being able to see yourself in a tech space can be transformative. And you can still make just as much money, which is important. All right, Sydney, same question for you. What do you envision?
I envision us making like technological advancements. I envision us networking with some of like the biggest corporations, the biggest companies. I see us getting scholarships and internships for like the inventions that we've made and the contributions we've made to society. And I want national recognition, national, not state recognition, national.
We're gonna elevate that. We're gonna say international. We want international recognition, and we will have it. All right. So Olivia, same question to you. What do you envision for our Jackson Tech District?
Honestly, I envision collaboration, networking opportunities, just opportunities for people to meet new people and an overall lively atmosphere. I want people to feel at home, feel welcome when they come into the Tech Hub.
And I think that that's something important because for a lot of people, tiptoeing into technology is scary because it's something new. And so if we can cultivate a place that has that Southern hospitality that we're always credited for, I think that that could really help people that are still trying to figure out where they fit feel like they really can find a home there. I think that's an excellent idea. So next for you, Ryan, what do you envision?
I envision a place for people to come together, a place where you can learn, and a place where you can put your name out.
So you're bringing the people together and we're going to get some recognition.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Carlin, same question for you. What do you envision?
Like you said, technology, the tech field for some people is scary because it seems like it's so much. But what I envision is for a lot of hobbyists, a lot of people who like certain things about tech to find their place at the tech hub, to realize that they can have a sustaining lifestyle off the technology field, where a group of like-minded individuals can deepen their knowledge, and not only deepen their knowledge, but expand their range of abilities and learn new skills that go with other fields, because technology is everywhere in any field these days.
That's true. So we're going to elevate it, is what you're saying. We're going to start out hobbyists, we're going to start out new, and then we're going to build up this skill. I think that that's a good idea. Okay, so let's get really specific. So we talked about the big idea and what we envision, but like, let's just talk one thing. What is the one thing you would love to see in the district? And so I'm going to mix it up again, and everyone's going to answer this one. I'm going to start with you this time, Trey. So what is the one thing that you want to see?
Oh, well, really, I really just want to see activities or programs that target multiple fields of technology. And I say this simply because everyone doesn't have the same interest when it comes to technology, since the field is so, broad. So, not everyone wants to become a coder, not everyone wants to be on an esports team, and et cetera. So diversity is essential in fields that stretch beyond one category.
So one thing you just made me think of is we've had the opportunity to go to Lubbock a couple of times, and there we were able to see there's so many different job opportunities, because if we're talking about a video game, there are people that develop the characters, there are people that develop the gameplay, they develop the scenery, the background, the scenery, the foreground, the scenery that you interact with. There's so many different things in just creating a single scene in a video game. And so I think that us talking about being able to address or learn different aspects of different fields within tech, I think is really, really cool. All right, so same question for you, Stasher, Ardarius. So same question. What is the one thing that you want to see?
I want to really see technology being like the norm, because in a regular high school, if you said you like technology and stuff, most kids will get bullied. Like, for instance, I was bullied younger for liking video games and technology. And I feel like if technology was the new norm, more people will come out and say they actually like technology instead of, criticizing it, when it's really many based opportunities that you can lead from. Yeah.
Now that's good. That inclusivity is important. And I think that goes back to what Olivia was talking about too earlier, in that we need to build a space where everyone feels comfortable. Sydney, same question to you. What is the one thing you absolutely want to see?
Hey, when I come in, I would like to see one big building, but we're separated into like different categories. Like over to the left, you may have coding, where they're working to break down this website. Over to the right, you may have virtual reality, where they're creating a video game. Somewhere upstairs, they're building robots, and somewhere downstairs, they have eco-friendly inventions that they're making. But I want one building with different aspects, but it makes up the tech hub.
I think that is a great idea. Olivia, what is the one thing that you want to see?
Well, I'm really big on people working together and feeling at home and feeling included. So I just want to see collaboration. There are some people that may have the skills to do tech related things, and there are some people that just have the ideas. And I believe if they could come together, they could accomplish something great if we have somebody doing what somebody else is thinking.
Absolutely, because I think that a lot of us have great ideas, but we don't necessarily have the know-how or the skill set to do it. like you're talking about. And so it shouldn't be what stops us from being able to create things and create solutions to fix people's problems. So I think that is an excellent idea. Ryan, same question. So what is the one thing you absolutely want to see?
I'm in agreement with Olivia. I mean, I believe the execution is important, but overall, I would love to see like Jackson and surrounding areas come together and work together to achieve one bigger goal.
All right, and so Carlin, what is the one thing that you want to see?
So there's this running ad for Omnis PCs, and they have this giant foreground area, just a giant green space with futuristic setting and furniture that allows people to not only roam with the technology that they have, whether it's a VR headset, an AR headset, drones, but it also allows for a giant, like Olivia said, collaboration and group usage of technological aspects that are alike. And when it comes to the building, I don't want to see walls. I want to see what the people are doing. I want to see different spaces, no walls, no doors, just a giant space where people can do what they can.
I think that is a great idea, because one thing that can sometimes happen in tech is that we get isolated because we're doing a task, we're working on something by ourselves. And so being able to have that open space where the collaboration is almost required could really come up with some good ideas. Okay, so let's think a little bit about the future, because we are kind of on the front end of this, and we wanted to be here longer than what we're here, right? So if you're going to think about generations from now, what or how do you feel that you and the generations after you should fit into this new district? And I will start with you, Carlin.
So back to how I was thinking about the design and what I want for the Tech Hub, I think that my generation will specifically be the era of a new beginning in a technology-based Jackson. Like I said before, technology is connected in every aspect of any job. So it would give us the opportunity to not only be the foundation, but to bring up the, let's call it technological tree, help it grow. It would mature into a learning space for all generations after us who are like-minded when it comes to technology.
Okay, so we're planting seeds. I guess we could do a quick shout out to the Bean Path.
There you go. Planting seeds for we're the sowers. We're sowers. We're planting the seeds in the field of technology for future generations.
There it is. All right, Ryan, same question. Where do you see your generation as well as future generations fitting in this district?
I mean, honestly, we could mentor, we could be along everybody else, or we could support it from the shadows, like financially. I don't think there should be any designated ranks, but we could all be equals who just like learn from each other and love each other. It's like one big family.
That is awesome. So we're not putting titles on it. We're just here to learn and propel ourselves. I like that. I really, really do. Olivia, same question. How does your generation and the future generations fit into this new district?
Okay, so with our generation being possibly the founders of this new tech district, I feel like in the future, we should be the ones to donate and support the cause to keep it going. And the future generation should be the one to carry on our legacy from being the ones who will put Jackson on the map with this new tech district.
I like that a lot. Sydney, same question. Where do you see your generation and future generations fitting into the tech district?
In the future, I see us being more open-minded, like you guys previously stated, being more than just like a basketball player or I rap or I sing. We're going to have like aeronautical engineers and civil engineers and technicians. I really want us to widen our broad and what we choose as our career path, because the more advanced the society is, like the more we can evolve and get better and live longer and just be happy.
Yes, and then in the midst of it, we're going to make apps and tools and come up with different ideas to help our rappers and our singers and everybody else do what they do much better. Because when you think about it, like streaming services were once an idea. No one thought that it would be necessary to stream music from the internet. And now we do it, every day. So that's like another one of those ideas. All right, so going on to you, Trayvon. Where do you see your generation and future generations in the tech district?
Okay, so those of us that have already like graduated and started our careers, which is basically my generation, we can provide by sponsoring and giving words of advice to students present in the district at the time, which would be the generations after. And I see the generations after making a great name for the district, perhaps even putting Jackson on the map, or more on the map. But overall, I see everyone contributing to the district in the best way that they can.
So mentorship is what I'm hearing you saying. Mentorship to where we're making sure that once we start it, it doesn't stop with us. It continues even long, long, long after we're here. All right, so Ardarius, you're the last one to answer this question. How does your generation and the generations after fit into this district?
I agree with Trayvon. I believe that my generation and above should act as mentors and teachers to pave the way for future generations and guide them. And I also agree with Ryan when he said that nobody should have titles. I believe everybody should fit in where they feel comfortable.
That is, I think, one of the key things that you guys have mentioned that is super important. Everybody needs to feel like they belong to this place and this place is theirs. All right, so we have made it to our very last question, and it's a straightforward question, but it's still a little complex. So the question that I'm going to ask all of you is, what is your role in the evolution of technology? Whether it be the evolution in general or the evolution in the city or internationally or however. So what is your role in the evolution of technology? And I'll start back with you, Ardarius.
I believe my role in the evolution of technology in Jackson is basically an advocate for the future. Because as a young child, my first piece of technology changed my life. And to see that Jackson is implementing such a game changer for the city, I can do nothing but get the word out and support this to its full extent.
Absolutely. We need advocates to make sure that we are able to get everybody excited, just as excited as we are about what's to come. Trayvon, same question. So what is your role in the evolution of technology?
Okay, my role is to be an inspiration to other JPS scholars. I currently play on the esports team for the JTEX, early college high school. So we had teams in the past in our district, but I want the current and the future programs to be more consistent. So we were able to start this esports team by encouraging our teachers and staff. So the creation of our gaming team can inspire other students to do the same and start up programs of their own.
Yes. You guys did encourage me to help you start the team. And it is something that I too would like to see across the district, across grade levels, because I enjoy coaching you all, and I know that y'all enjoy playing as well. So what's great about esports is that it's technology, but it's fun, it's more relaxed. And so you don't even realize you're doing some of the things you're doing. And I think that is really cool. Sydney, same question. So what is your role in the evolution of technology?
I also want to be an advocate and educate other kids about the tech field. I've done programs like STEM, where we've created technology like remote control robots. And if they try it, it could actually be very fun. And I feel like when it comes to the tech field, it's like a dim perspective that it's just like phones, or it's just, or we can make a website, a little ninja website or something. But in reality, you can really change the world. Everything is made of technology. The computer we have right now, the lamps you have is technology. The rockets that we're shipping to the moon is technology. So when you really see how deep it can get, it can really be fun. I feel that people will be more interested in it.
Olivia, so what is your role in the evolution of technology?
Like Trevon, I believe my role would be to inspire others to come into the tech community. I did a science fair last year, a science fair project, and I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to go into the tech field or not, but this particular science fair project was tech related, and it was really successful. And that the only reason it was so successful is because no one else thought of these things. If no one else is thinking of the things that you're thinking of, I mean, why not bring it out? I feel like I could be the person to inspire people to bring out their ideas.
And that is an important role that we need. We need someone to be or help support people and inspire. Carlin, the same question. What is your role in the evolution of technology?
Well, going back to that sowing seeds, I feel like my role is to be the foundation, be a part of the foundation for the district, whether that's setting the design layout, like we just talked about, everything that we want to see, whether that's bringing people from all around the world. Like I said, we want to be international, bring people from all around the world to our tech district in Jackson, where hopefully things that we've never seen before can be created, much like Georgia Tech's Tech Lab. Things can be made and be thought of and be controlled and just get to a point where we have hit that international spot. And I feel like my main purpose is not to make this such a well-known thing, not just in my district, but like I said, internationally, where it's something that we can all get recognized for, something that we can all change the world with.
Excellent, excellent. And Ryan, you are going to close us out by answering the question as well. What is your role in the evolution of technology?
I feel like my role in the evolution of technology is just to expose people to the ways that technology could be used. Like, for example, to the viewers watching and my fellow panel members, I could ask if you all knew that your phone, iPad, school computer, like really any piece of technology you have laying around the house could be used to make like beats or edit YouTube videos, and they could have the same quality as the professional software. And that's just something not too many people know. And so I feel like my role in technology is to help people know that you can do these types of things with technology.
So I see a little education in your future. All right, so these are all of our questions, and it feels like it went super fast, but I think we had some really good conversation about ways that we want to see our district, our tech district, grow and develop into a place that is ours. And so for those of you watching, from the students from the tech team at JTech, we appreciate you taking time out to listen to our thoughts, and see you next time. That was a weird ending, but it's okay.
Although they were not live with us today, I want to thank the Jackson Tougaloo Early College High School for their participation in the panel. Our next panel will be about breaking into technology. In this panel, we'll address some of the questions that you had during the previous panel. May I ask all the panelists to turn their cameras on?
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you. Hi. Today we have Lacey Lofton, Elliot Sanford, Vince Jordan, and Nikita Singleton. I'll introduce the panelists. First, I'll start off with Elliot Sanford. Elliot Sanford is currently a software engineering contractor. He taught himself to code for 5 years, and since then, he's been learning on his own, including developing automated tasks at work, creating personal projects, and organizing virtual and in-person study groups. He taught himself front-end and back-end web development while working as support staff at law firms. Then he left the legal world to begin teaching a high school web development course. In 2018, he started working for himself as a tech consultant, where he builds websites, tools, and applications for businesses. At the end of 2019, he joined a local back-end coding bootcamp program in the evenings to mainly fill some knowledge gaps in his back-end programming skills. He did that at the Mississippi Coding Academy. Next, we have Nikidra Singleton. Nikidra Singleton is currently a second administrator at the Mississippi Coding Academy and a junior software developer. She's a graduate of the 2018-2019 cohort of the Mississippi Coding Academies. She's a native of Jackson, Mississippi, and is the oldest of 4 children. One of her favorite things is to play chess. Her goal is to build up her experience as a developer and hopefully teach code in the future. Next, we have Lacey Lofton. Lacey Lofton is the consulting data scientist for the city of Jackson who works with Mayor Lumumba's team. Lacey believes in the collective ability of citizens to address the problems they face in their city and create workable solutions that can be modeled. Lacey has supported the work of the award-winning College Access website that taught kids from grade 6 on how to go out to college. Lacey also holds degrees in social sciences, history from Delta State University, a master's in international peace and conflict resolution from Arcadia University, a master's in human rights law from the Queen's University of Belfast in Northern Ireland, and her newest degree, a specialization in data science from Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. And finally, we have Mr. Vince Jordan, who's the head of Labaki. He travels around the country teaching virtual reality and coding. So please welcome our panelists. All right, so we'll go ahead and hop right in. Are y'all ready?
Let's do this.
All right. We'll start off with you, Vince. How did you first get involved in technology?
So I was one of those rare individuals many decades ago that was born into it. Both of my parents were in what was then called data processing. Lacey, that's kind of what you do these days, actually. So this is like a blast to the past for me. But when I was 10 years old, I was introduced to mainframe computers. My dad worked at a facility called Fermilab, which until CERN was created in Switzerland was the world's largest atom smasher. So 4.5 mile ring, accelerator ring to smash atoms together and see what kind of fun things happen. And he ran the 7th and 8th floor of the high-rise building out there, Fermilab, which was all mainframe computers. And periodically he would take me to work with him. And it was like being on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, basically. And I would drive him crazy because I'd want to hang tapes and change disk drives and all that. And he's like, look, just see that computer over in the corner there? So y'all can Google this because nobody's going to know what this is. But there was a thing called a DEC PDP-11. And back then, mainframe computers came with keys. And so you actually had to go over to your computer and turn it on and all the lights would come up. And the first time that happened to me, I was in. That was it. This is what I was going to do for the rest of my life, is watch all these pretty lights and see what I can make them do. So I learned programming and computing from there, and I just kept doing it all the years after that. I've never really left the technology industry. So mainframes, mini computers, microcomputers. I still have vjordan@aol.com if anybody wants to email me there. I got my first email address in 1987. So for years I listened to You've Got Mail. And then all through the internet industry and this technology here, which is, relatively new, everything else I've had to fool around with. And now this technology, which is really cool. I think most of you have had in a headset, but if I haven't, we'll have to make sure that happens. So yeah, that's how I got started in tech.
Excellent. That's an excellent story, Vince. And I think your email address might be older than I am.
I'm sure it's probably older than most everybody on this call.
Next, we'll go on to Lacey Lofton. How did you first get into technology?
Well, first I have to apologize. My house is going under severe, restoration. So you hear some guys in the background. I'm sorry about that. Vince, I got my first Apple IIe in 85, I think, a nice Apple IIe. I still remember Catalog to get into it. One of my favorite games was Ghostbusters because that's the movie that came out. And it was mad. You had to, get the ghost in between the screens. Well, anyway, that was my first entrance into technology, was that, or my light bright, one or the other. But like my degrees say, I'm a historian. At the base of me, I'm a historian and a social scientist. So when I got out of Queens in Belfast, came back, was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the first real job I got was working with Project America. And at the time, Project America was switching over to data visualization. Basically, they thought that citizens would understand issues better if there's charts. There's a whole industry nowadays dedicated to data reporting. You will see this in CNN all over the place. I mean, anywhere you look. There's now charts of anything. The Super Bowl of my profession just happened. And believe me, the whole week we were just all numbers and charts and maps. Of course, there's maps, oh Lord. But what I did was take large sets of federal data at the time and put them into visualizations, into charts. And then, this is where my social sciences came in, I would blog about them. Why does it matter? What's the trends? Why are they talking about this at this moment? And so I did that for over 500 federal issues. And it was a blast. I loved it. But then the recession hit and money started getting tight for nonprofits, which Project America was one. I then went into, creating Rise Up Mississippi, which some of you may have seen. You've got to go fill out your FAFSA. I know that, so you've got to go through that portal. They've changed it a little bit. There was a lot more mechanization on it when I was there, when I was putting out applications and games and that sort of thing. For y'all to learn how to go to college in 4 years. Remember, 4 years, okay? And then that grant money had run out, and I got into consulting at that point because, I'm a little bit of a unicorn, and it's hard to translate that to employers. And so I created my consultancy, and I met Dr. Blaine, and I believe through my CV and my products that I had created, very thoughtful designs, that he took me on board, and now I'm creating all sorts of data for Jackson, and that's how I broke into technology in Jackson.
Thank you, Lacey. Mm-hmm. Next, we'll go to Elliot Sanford.
Well, I got into tech a little bit differently than the others. I grew up in probably more of I guess a digital native. We had a lot of technology in the home. Growing up, I played a lot of video games, played computer video games. So I was always around some sort of technology from a young age. I think when I started to see that I did have technological skills and kind of see the need to learn more technological skills was when I was in college. I was studying to be a journalist, and it's what I ended up getting my degree in. And I took a this should have been a sign for me, but I took a class called I think it was just called digital media. But I created what I know now as a web page. HTML, CSS. There was no JavaScript on it, but just creating a static site. And in that class, I think I got well over 100, and that should have been my sign that I had a future in web development. But I didn't really take it that seriously. And truth be told, I didn't really love journalism, but I did like to write. I did like to talk to people. I did like to be around people, and I enjoyed the sports aspect of it. I was a sports journalist, and and that was kind of the time when the newspaper industry was going under a massive change, and people were no longer wanting to, buy dead paper out there, get a dead tree every year, every as an annual subscription. So it was going under major transformation. There was a lot of cuts in those kind of jobs, and so I had to really consider, what do I want to do with my life. And so I really saw that I had, a lot of passions, and that, again, I like to deal with people. I like to fight for people's rights. I like to fight for people. So I thought, okay, I'll go try to be a lawyer. I'll try to go to law school, and I'll start working in some law firms just as like a runner, just to see, how I like working in the law. And then I saw that there was a field called paralegal, and which is basically an aide, similar to how a nurse is an aide to a doctor. A paralegal aids legal team. So I worked in the legal field for a while, and um, every place I worked, they always recognized my tech savvy, uh, skill set, and so they always put me in places where I was working with databases, manipulating Excel charts. And so I really started to see that I didn't so much love the law, even though I did kind of have a drive to do it, and I had a dream to do that. I started to see that there was something greater. You kind of mentioned it in my bio, but just the moment for me was when I was able to do some magic with a little script. It was maybe, gosh, it had to be less than 50 lines of a script, and it just looped through some files, and it created subfiles, and it did this 100 times over, which would have taken me manually doing that, would have taken me hours, and I would have done it inaccurately. And so for me, that was when the light bulb came on, that, hey, this is really valuable. It took a task that would have taken me hours, and I did it in 10 seconds. And so for me, that was really the moment I started to see that, oh my goodness, I've got to know more of this. So I just poured myself into YouTube videos, poured myself into surfing the web to find any kind of free information I could get. And that's what led me to programming. And I discovered Python, Ruby, PHP. I started to get some side clients working on WordPress sites. And I made a transition into teaching away from the law field. And I was able to teach HTML, CSS, Google Suite, a lot of technology to youth. And I also started something called Free Code Camp Jackson to teach people basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and to help people start their journeys. And so that's kind of my start, and it's ultimately led me to creating my own company, and now I lead a development team of people that are creating web apps, and I'm hoping to get more of those clients so I can grow my company. But it all just started with curiosity. It all just started with, hey, how can I do this better? How can I do this faster? How can I do this without wasting a bunch of time? And we have these amazing machines that allow us to do that. And that's where, I hope I can encourage anybody watching here, is that if you have the drive to learn and you have access to a computer and the World Wide Web, you can learn anything.
Absolutely, thank you. And I can attest to Elliot's teaching skills and his ability. I went through the Coding Academy with him, and he was often helping myself and fellow other students. So he knows what he's talking about. Next, we'll go to Nikidra Singleton.
Oh, hi. I really didn't get into technology until I did start the academy. So I went to college. I started college out majoring in accounting, but it really wasn't my thing. I learned that quickly and life kind of hit. So as I went through the academy, it turns out to be something that I never knew I liked. Like, it's kind of, as I went through it, it was difficult at first, but as I got to seeing stuff that as I got to see stuff on the screen, it was amazing, starting out. And then, like, right after the academy, I had started teaching the night program at the coding academies. And as I was doing that, I wasn't really teaching. I was like a teacher's assistant, but it just made me want to teach even more because I love the people. I just love really helping other people, helping make that light bulb click for other people. I guess that's how I could say it. But like, I didn't really, my first real project was this project we are working with MailSaps. I am working on this Eudora Welty website for her Powerhouse site. And that's still ongoing, but that's really I'm getting my first taste of the dev world outside of school, I guess you could say. And it's pretty amazing. But I just really want to eventually build up my confidence and my experience to teach other people full time.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks for giving back. Again, I went through when Nikidra was teaching, and she was extremely helpful and a fun teacher. So if you go to the academy, you might get somebody as fun as her. And we did have Dr. Cephas on here. I see she dropped off. If she comes back, we'll ask her as well. My next question is, Mississippi is not necessarily known to be a tech hub. They mentioned it earlier, but Washington, Seattle, Boston, those places might be considered more of tech hubs than Jackson. What made you decide to stay in Mississippi? And this time I'll start with Elliot.
I decided to stay in Mississippi. I'm from Starkville, Mississippi. My wife, her family is here in Clinton. And truth be told, I decided to stay in Mississippi to stay close to family. And I really, I kind of saw some opportunity for some jobs. But I mean, truth be told, I think Mississippi could do a lot better to attract more talent and keep our talent here. If there's those that are listening to this, I would plead with you to invest more in keeping people here. Especially during this time, that's even something that it's on the table for me considering leaving, just to find more work in what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, I would say there's definitely more our state could do, but at least having some family ties kept me here.
Thank you. That's a great response. Family ties definitely keep people in town, and I think you're right. A lot of people do consider leaving, but the ones who stay are the ones who are going to have a big effect. That's why I kind of want to go to Dr. Nashley Cephas next, and I'll do a short introduction of her since we're in the middle. Dr. Nashley Cephas is the Applied Science Manager for Amazon's Artificial Intelligence, focusing on fairness and identifying biases in AWS AI technologies. She's a native of Jackson, a 2003 graduate of Murrah High School and APAC. She had several internships and research experiences worldwide with companies such as IBM, Delphi, University of California at Berkeley, GE Research Center, GE Energy, Miller Transporters, and Kwangwon University in Seoul, South Korea. In 2018, Dr. Cephas became the founder and CEO of the Beam Path, a nonprofit organization based in Jackson, Mississippi, assisting individuals with startups with technical expertise and guidance. In September of 2020, she became the owner and developer of the Jackson Tech District, which you were introduced to just a little bit ago. Dr. Cephas, can you tell us how you first got involved in technology and what made you stay in Mississippi?
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. I apologize for technical difficulties. It's technology, so those of you getting into it, just know sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it to. But I got into tech from just kind of being from a house full of women, and we all, mom, grandmother, sister, if something broke, we had to fix it. We weren't the wealthiest folks, and so we did everything from mowing the yard to changing ceiling fans. And I joke that I only got electrocuted one time changing a ceiling fan, but you'll never make that mistake again. And so we would hang Christmas lights and all that. And so I just really learned how to be curious and to delve into things and not be afraid to break things, and hopefully you eventually fix them. But more formally, so I think that was kind of like my root of getting involved in like engineering and learning how things work. But more formally, I would attend, these summer camps, math and science at Jackson State University, going through middle school. I remember my 8th grade teacher sent me to a summer camp, engineering camp at Mississippi State. And so I fell in love with computer engineering there, because it was like you can type these little numbers and letters, and it makes hardware do some incredible things. And I learned that everything from of course, the electricity to the water coming out of the faucets to the computers in our cars, everything is controlled by, computers and computer programming code. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I was fascinated. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest.
Thank you. And what made you decide to stay here in Mississippi? I know that you're kind of bilocational, but what made you decide to put down roots here and to build here?
Yeah, well, and I wanted to comment on Elliot. Elliot, we want you to stay, but I understand. I'm not gonna hold it to you, because I definitely left. I felt like, there weren't a lot of opportunities for, people in the tech industry during the time in which I was, graduating and coming through, college and grad school. And so I ended up planting my roots at Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and I'm still back and forth between Atlanta and Jackson today. And more recently, a lot more frequently to Jackson with the development project going on. But I honestly, I always wanted to come back. I just wanted to make sure I had opportunities. And so when I see that a lot of things are happening, a lot of people are on the move with technology in Jackson, and I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to help strengthen that in whatever way that I could. And so that was kind of what drew me back to the city, which is my hometown. And if you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem, and I believe that. And so whatever I could do to help to say, hey, I did my part, this is kind of what I'm doing, and that's what brought me back.
Thank you. That's a great answer, great response. I want to ask Nikitra the same question. What made you decide to stay in Mississippi, especially as a junior coder, junior developer? What made you decide to stay here?
Well, I want to see how far I can go with the Mississippi Coding Academies. Really, I just started, and I honestly really like it, and I think we can go further. I think I can go far. Not saying that I may not move, but I just haven't really, honestly speaking, I haven't really presented with an opportunity yet. But like, I'm honestly okay right here where I'm at.
That is a perfectly honest answer, which is exactly what we're looking for. So thank you for that. I'll go to Vince next. What made you decide to stay and build in Mississippi?
So for me, the question is more properly stated, what makes you decide to stay? Because I'm a transplant. I lived in Boulder, Colorado 27 years before coming here in 2017. And prior to that, all over the planet. So, I was going to say it's this amazing tech community and the amazing tech infrastructure that's here and all that. But Nashville is not done yet, so that would be a fib. So I'm going to have to wait for her to get all that completed. Oh, and we're partners. We're there with you. You're not doing this by yourself. The thing that makes me stay is a couple of different things. With all that missing, the thing that I've discovered here that is really astonishing to me is the people. I just keep meeting wonderful people, amazing people, people with passion, people with heart, people with drive, people with capabilities, endless capabilities, it seems, in this state. Somehow it's been hidden from the rest of the planet. And I can tell you that I've also discovered that you can pretty much do whatever you want here and from this state. As you may know, we, being in Mississippi, crafted this notion of a VR academy and VR labs, and we have a dozen of them or so around Mississippi. But more importantly, we're in 39 schools in 9 states now. So we're exporting this from Jackson, Mississippi, all over the country, as far as Arizona, Utah, Kentucky, Tennessee. And one of the things I really enjoy when I meet these people, I've recently been up to Maryland and Virginia, talking to colleges and K through 12 up there. And when I tell them where I'm from, they go, wait, what? Jackson, what? Like, yeah, Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. Haven't you heard of it? And they're rather astonished. And I say, yeah, I mean, come on. If we can do this, you can do this. And it really helps actually in the selling process that, it's originated and supported from here and is going out to these other states, and they're kind of in awe, that it can be done. Most of the tech we deal with looks like stuff that nobody would want to touch for the next 5 or 10 years, so because it's so far out there. And showing up and saying, man, we're doing this all over Mississippi, kind of gets them swaggering a little bit, going, well, geez, and I guess we should be, doing this as well. So we get a lot of cachet, actually, from originating and being from this state. And like I said, for me personally, it's all the people I keep meeting here. It's just fantastic. Love it.
Partnerships and relationships and building out. That's a great response. Fantastic. And Lacey, I'm going to leave you to follow it up.
Sure. Don't get me wrong. With my degrees and where I've been, I would love to be at The Hague. At the moment, there's a great case going on, but that's the International Criminal Court. But Family Matters got me back here in Mississippi. That was 2003, I believe. I was still working for Project America. But as I got into the tech or the nonprofit philanthropic world here in Mississippi, I saw that there was a great need for what I wanted to do. I wanted to become the data scientist, the consulting data scientist for the nonprofits. I know that none of them can probably afford me wholly. So what I have created or here in Mississippi is they can own a piece of me. And I believe staying in Mississippi is important because this is where the United States bleeds most in terms of problems, poverty, all sorts of wildly horrible things, social-wise, happen here in Mississippi. And if I can make an impact, a model impact on its population. We can develop solutions that can go throughout the United States or even the world. So a lot of inspiration here in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi itself. So yeah, that's what keeps me here. It is full of inspiration. It's full of ripeness for solutions and community development. So yeah, it's exciting work. I mean, anywhere else you'd be a 1 in 100, but here you're not. You are a big fish, and you can make some impact on people who deserve it and need it. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Now I had a couple more questions, but I want to turn to the audience questions because they have some pretty great questions. So I'm going to ask, what is the best way to find technological innovations and anticipate the needs and experiences of the future with a positive social impact? Great question from a student or perhaps a teacher. And I'll start with, who wants to start with this question? Anybody have an answer that they already want to shout out? Elliot, is that you moving for the mouse?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, absolutely. What is the best way to lead technological innovation and anticipate the needs and experiences of the future with a positive social impact?
I mean, I can give a stab at it. I mean, I would say definitely, take note of what's happening around you. I mean, I would say for me, I think about the small businesses today that are shutting down because they don't have any online presence. And for me, that has a huge social impact, especially for places like local businesses where, they have to shut their doors. I think one of my family members went to a store and they were having to sell all their items. And even the owner was saying, well, where were all these people in the pandemic? We needed them then, and now they're here. And it just broke her heart, that she went from, profits of $90,000 a month to she was just barely bringing in $7,000 a month. So that was a really sad story, but it tells you what the need is. So you have to be in your community to know what your community's needs are. And so for me, that tells me that you need to have some kind of, at a minimum, a website that can convert for you that's going to be in the future. I mean, that's going to be even now. People need that today. And that's where I'm trying to find my clientele is how can I help people convert from people not coming through their doors, from just coming to their website? How can they create business? That's just one example, but I wanted to give our other panelists a chance to give their feedback because I think that's a really good question.
Go ahead, Lacey.
Hey, Elliot touched on it. He did a great job. What you've got to look at is there's problems in your community. First, you've got to know what that problem is. You got to hone down on it. Then you got to get people in the community talking about that problem. What is the problem? Can you name it? Can you diagram it? Then what would the solution be? What is your desire for that? Say like small businesses during the pandemic. How do we deliver food? Well, explosion, all sorts of like waiter apps, DoorDash and whatnot. I mean, what's your desire, for the solution to that problem? So you've got to detail that. What does your paradise look like, for that problem? And then below that, you can start figuring out how to build that solution. So up under that, you've got all these ideas about how to use technology, what these different functions can do, and come up underneath an umbrella of a solution. And so that's That's kind of a method. And then once you've figured that out, the cycle continues, right? What are the solutions, tweaks? How can we make this better? And the cycle continues. It's an idea cycle, right? A developer cycle to make it. And this loop never stops, right? Until you've either hit nirvana or it's just not needed anymore.
And I want to go to the next question, but I want to point out that Vince and Ashley are doing this exact thing, leading social impact with innovation through their organizations, teaching. Elliot does the same, teaching, and so does Nikita. And so they're all teaching. Even Lacey will come in and she's teaching our one of our classes next week, actually, on data. So they're all doing this through innovation, through their own little way. So giving back, having a social impact, you can do that in little ways. And innovation doesn't have to be large. You don't have to have something grand. You don't have to build a tech district. That's great if you can, but you can lead through innovation in small steps as well. One other question is Mississippi a better place for studying technology than Seattle or other places? And I want to start with Ashley.
So I may be slightly biased, but I think Mississippi is a great place for doing whatever it is that you want to do. You may have to go about it a little bit differently than you would in a Seattle or in a New York or in a Silicon Valley. But the beauty of, and I think Lacey mentioned it, like the beauty of it is that you are a big fish in the pond. And so the market is yours for the taking. Do you know how many people, Elliot mentioned getting a website, you know how many people still and businesses still don't have websites in the Jackson area, in the Delta area, on the coast, Northeast Mississippi, all these little pockets. The areas is ripe. The tech industry in Mississippi is very primitive. And so this is the time to seize it. And so if you go to Seattle, and before COVID, I was in Seattle almost every 2 weeks, flying back and forth between Seattle and Atlanta. And I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. So thanks to COVID for that. But I think if you go to Seattle, you'll see, well, maybe you won't see 100 other people who look like me, but you'll see 100 other people who are doing something similar to like what I'm doing. And you'll have more competition. It's a great community though. A lot of people that you can rely on and ask for help. But the market, as far as like having that social impact and wanting to build some financial stability for yourself, is a little bit more competitive. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can add a little bit to that, Jessica. The technology that Lubaki is working with is, the most advanced technology on the planet, probably the next computing platform right now. And I travel still all over the country. I don't fly. I drive everywhere because I haul equipment with me all the time. But I can tell you that, I can go to Salt Lake City and I can introduce 100 people to this technology. They've never seen it, never touched it, never heard of it. I did the same thing in Phoenix, Arizona, recently, Frederick, Maryland, and they're astonished, right, that we're doing this out of Jackson, Mississippi. And frankly, so am I sometimes. But I want to use that, to prove the point that you can learn about the most advanced technology, how to utilize it, how to apply it, how to help people with it, and create programming around it that doesn't exist anywhere in the world, right from this place. The access that we have to whatever we need worldwide. I mean, this world has shrunk down to about the size of a bottle cap, in terms of being able to get the information you want and the materials you want to create whatever you want. It wasn't always that way. I know, because I used to have to put a quarter in a phone booth to make a phone call. We're showing that, in fact, you can do anything you want with tech right from here. You need all those wonderful people I was talking about earlier, and making good connections and good friends and good support structure, to encourage you and to keep you going, and just determination. But, that's about it. You can make it happen.
Absolutely. Thank you. Personally, do you think people are creating more influential ways to attract more students here to study technology, even the students from other states? Anyone can jump in on that one. That's kind of building off the last question.
I can tell you that sitting behind the wall behind me here, I have 2 fresh students from Tennessee who now have been incorporated into Jackson, Mississippi. That was one of our VR schools. And I roam around the different schools that we've installed and look for fresh talent, and then explain to them how amazing this place is, and that they should come down here and actually practice this technology for real in life. And so this summer, we picked up 2 from Tennessee, 1 from Atlanta, and 1 from Boston, and they're still here. So I think so.
Yes. I want to also add to that, especially like in the COVID, everything's remote, we can like reach to way more people out like that. Yeah, I just wanted to. Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
can
a good point. So people, you're kind of saying people from out of state, they see what we're doing or what y'all are doing, really, they can still learn without having to travel to Mississippi. That still gets Mississippi recognition. That still puts Jackson on the map, saying, "Oh, where'd you learn that? I learned that from this girl down in Jackson. She taught me how to do virtual reality or immersive reality, something like that." And so, that's a great point, Nikidra.
If I could add, I had something to add.
Okay, go ahead.
I would even say there's kind of been this shift that's been occurring within tech because of COVID. A lot of people there's actually an exodus out of really expensive places out in California and New York, and they're moving back to the places where their families are. And so if these people are recognizing, man, like I don't need to be in Silicon Valley to do this, I can be anywhere, and I could still get paid a high-paying job, and I could still work for the best companies in the world, and I can be in my hometown, near my mom and dad, near my grandma, my grandpa, all my extended family. They're just right here, and I can still work for these amazing companies. Why do we need to go out? I think that's one thing that has kept me here, is just knowing that I can do this from anywhere in the world. I don't need to be in a really expensive place if I can help it. Maybe certain things would draw me to a place that would be elsewhere, but that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I would just encourage people, exhaust the resources that you have here, exhaust the abilities that you have to work from Mississippi. And if needed, maybe you need to go, but I would say at least give those options a deeper look, because you can do all of this here, just like Vince was saying.
I plus one that.
And the reverse is true as well. You can stay here and learn anything you want. You have now, because of COVID, access to all sorts of courses that are online. I learned data science through Johns Hopkins platform, and that's available for you too. I was here with my cat, Blicky, and I learned data science, coding, all sorts, statistics as well, correlations, everything, with a cat in my lap. Right here, right in front of, where my mama can come any moment. So yeah, the reverse is true as well.
Absolutely. And I want to end on one last note from each of you. What is the best piece of advice that you have received getting into technology or into your field? And what advice do you have for those who want to get into the tech industry? And we'll start with you, Lacey.
What advice would I know? Know that you're not going to learn everything you need to know for each project. It is always a learning curve. I mean, sometimes they're straight up, sometimes they're nice, coasting curves, but you will learn throughout your lifetime, from Apple IIes to whatever technology comes next. Whatever programs you come next. I love learning new programs like QGIS for this new heat data we've got. It only comes with GIS data, so it's not what I'm used to, going into a database. But learning new programs is a lot of fun, and seeing what they can do. So now this new program can layer, different data on top of it, with redlining data on top of heat. Let's see what else is out there. So know this, you're going to learn, and each project has a learning curve, and you can do it because you've got the internet. You've got the compendium of human knowledge at your fingertips. And I believe that's why I love it so much, because you just keep on learning.
Thank you, Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
Nikidra.
The best advice I've received, especially like if you want to go into the web development field, is to just create whatever, just keep on creating. Just anything you see, just anything just that pops up in your head, because you can never have a too big portfolio, I guess you could say. And my advice would be to just stick with it, because I know there were times where, I would go straight to work, get off like 1 o'clock, I will work some hours and go straight to school and stuff, and still do homework and stuff. So you get out of it what you put into it. I would just say you get out what you put into it.
Absolutely. Vince, how about you? You would go next.
So the best advice I ever received is the advice I would give. I didn't receive it so much by word as by participation, if you will. I got to work with Steve Jobs for a period of time, and decided after being with him and watching him work and working with him, it was like, okay, follow your passion. Whatever your passion is, do that. If you're doing tech for the sake of tech, or you're doing tech because you think the market's gonna, treat you really well, or whatever else you think it is, life is crazy. Everybody was planning for a pandemic, right? Follow your passion. If you follow your passion, then you're going to make it through everything life throws at you, and you will end up doing good just by being good. And so that's the advice that I would put out there.
Intensely excellent advice that I strongly agree with. It took me a long time to find my passion. Dr. Cephas Nashley.
Hey, I agree with everything that's been said. I'll just add, make sure you have a good support system. You can't do it by yourself. Find some people that support you, even if they don't know anything about technology, but they, say, hey, go ahead, keep on taking those courses, keep on those online books and reading and testing and studying, and making sure that you have a group of people you can go to for help. So again, a support system involves all different types of support. So remember that, not just other techies. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. And then we'll end on Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, I to kind of piggyback off of what Dr. Cephas said, maybe, and maybe extend that, just kind of realize, we kind of come from a broken past, a broken history in our state. And, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of brokenness within our own families, and I think, for me, there was a lot of brokenness that kept me from getting into tech, honestly. and I had to like kind of look for mentors, look for people to help me. And having that support system is huge. I can't stress that enough, especially in these kind of times. Like if you know, I always had a fifth grade teacher. One of our classmates mentioned, suicide, and that the teacher always said, he said in that moment, I vividly remember it to this day. There is nothing in this world that should cause you to take one's life, and there is so much out there that you are needed. You are needed in this world, and that is like just stuck with me forever. That little me, Elliot Sanford, is needed in this world. Jessica is needed. Nashley is needed. Vince, Lacey, Kiki, Dr. Cephas. I mean, all of us. And you out there, you're the creators of tomorrow. You're needed tomorrow. You're needed in this state. You're needed, in your families to make an impact. If there's brokenness in your family, you're needed to mend that, to bridge the gap. And I just encourage you, don't allow the haters and all the negativity that may be around you in your community to tear you down, but just have a vision of like, what can I do to bring others up, be the rising tide in my community, because a rising tide rises all boats. Be the force in your life that can make a difference, because it will be worth it. I know that for me, there's been a lot of difficulty that I've faced, whether it was, just a difficult boss, a difficult situation at work. I wasn't getting paid enough for what I was doing. I felt like in a lot of ways I was doing stuff that I hated, honestly. It was kind of, it was soul crushing in a lot of ways, some of the work that I did. And that's where I had a vision of, I'm going to teach myself. I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to get out of my situation. And I'm still not fully realizing that today, but I'm on the road and I know where the end is. And I would encourage you, if you're listening here, I had some great advice from the founder of Free Code Camp. He said, in tech, the three things that you should always be doing is one, you're always improving your reputation. One, you're always, second, you're always improving your skills. And then the third thing is you're always improving your network. If you're always improving those things all at the same time, then you have a bright future. But if you're doing but one of those things, maybe you're improving your skills, but you're not improving the other two things like your reputation and your network, then you're hurting yourself. And that's what I would say to each of the people listening today is always be working to improve those three things, and good things will come your way. It just can't help but come your way. But, I'd say echo what others have said, that, the information is there, but are you motivated to go grasp it? Because nobody's going to do that for you. And there's not just like there was this movie, The Matrix. They would, plug something in someone's head and just download the information into their head. That's not how tech skills work. You have to, you have to get through debugging in the console log and do really hard things. And it should not work for quite a while. And then you will fail a lot. And that's where I've seen that failure is just a sign that you're struggling and you're learning, and it's not a sign that you're a failure. Failing happens, and I'm sure each of us in here, we would have stories, books long of our failures. But many failures lead to great successes, and you can be that. You can be that, and you can be all these things that we've mentioned, for your community, for your family, and to mend and to heal those brokennesses in your family.
Excellent. Thank you for your thorough answer, Elliot. And with that, our panel is done. I want to thank our panelists, and I ask you if you'd stay on for a couple minutes after. But for the rest of you, for our audience members, thank you for listening. I hope you learned some great information. There's some great pieces of advice in there, some great tips from what they've been through. So I hope that you've learned a lot and take this with you. All right. Thank you, students. Thank you, faculty. And thank you, community members listening. All right. Panel, thank y'all very much. Y'all did an excellent job. I appreciate it. Nikita, I'm sorry you were having camera issues.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know what was going on with that. Like, it's still acting up for some reason. So I just left it alone.